Is the Institute a retreat worth booking, or should you just stay home and have a staycation? Let's talk now. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch Our Pass, and this will be a 5-minute review on The Institute, which comes to DVD, digital, and on demand on March 22nd, 2022. If you remember, my 5-minute reviews are I'm going to talk about the movie for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'm going to cut it off no matter where I am. I'm going to tell you a little about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like. But first, my hot take is I think you should pass on this. The film has some really good ideas and an interesting cast, but the overall execution feels slightly B-movie-ish. It feels like the effects don't really work. The delivery is not great. I don't know if it's by design or if it's unintentional, but to me, it just kind of, it felt like this journey didn't have kind of the presence that it needed. So I think you should pass on it. Now I'm going to tell you a little more about the film, a few things I liked and a few things I didn't like. So as you can imagine, there might be some spoilers. I'm not going to have a ton of spoilers, but I will have to say a little bit about the ending. I'm going to try to keep it vague, but if you don't want to know anything about the film, I would turn this off. The Institute follows a young couple who traumatically had a miscarriage, and they are trying to kind of figure out if they're going to try again or if they're going to move on. And the husband, played by Ignacio Matina, finds this like retreat that has a kind of holistic approach to fertility. You drink special drinks, you kind of use some FDA and some non-FDA approved methods, but the idea is that it's going to stimulate the mind and body and really help with fertility. And so the couple decides to go to this. At first, it seems kind of idyllic. It's a little weird, a little controlling, but it seems idyllic. But as they stay, more and more unsettling things occur. As they go deeper into this rabbit hole, they have to decide, like, do they want to stay and keep trying, or do they want to leave and maybe give up on having a kid? That's the rough overview of the film. Things I liked about it. The first is the central idea. I like that the film kind of took on this power mismatch between like patients and doctors, and how, you know, sometimes that can be a very scary experience. I thought that was an interesting angle to take, and I think that the film did a pretty good job of trying to show that. I do think that this idea has been done recently in False Positive, which I believe is a Hulu film. That was a pretty well done thriller, but it's nice to see more movies take this on, and this has a more kind of supernatural horror element as well. And the second thing I liked is the cast. I thought it was an interesting cast. It was a fun kind of mix of different people. Each couple at the retreat was a very different couple, very different circumstances, different mentalities, and so it was kind of fun to see them all interact in this world. So, things I didn't like as much. The first and kind of most visible to me are the effects. The effects feel very B movie, and I don't know if that was by design or if that was unintentional, but they are not really good. They break your immersion. There's some scenes in like a hospital where it does look like it's kind of a green screen. There's a scene where they're driving when it looks like there's a footage going through by the windows that was also green screen. Some of the later horror effects feel pretty over the top. They feel pretty obvious, and so I didn't love it. And you know that one of my like big pet peeves are effects, and so the fact that I would like see something and it would look almost laughable at times did really hurt my immersion. And especially in a horror film, you don't want that to happen unless it's by design. But I feel like the seriousness of the subject matter and the way that they kind of approached that, I think this was not a by design B movie. The second thing I did not love is a lot of the line delivery. I don't know if this was just a timing thing or what, but it felt like a lot of the lines did not come out naturally, and it really hurt your enjoyment with the characters because some of their statements would just not feel right. They wouldn't feel natural. They wouldn't feel normal. And again, that takes you out of the movie and kind of breaks your sense of immersion. And in a film like this, where you're really trying to connect with these characters, that kind of stuff just it doesn't help. It doesn't really help you kind of feel both the connection to the characters and also that sense of dread if you're not really believing the things that people are saying. And the last thing I didn't love is, I guess I'll call it the overall story, but really it was kind of the ending. The film ended in an over-the-top way. It kind of went off the rails. It went into a more horror type situation in the end, but it felt almost like it came out of left field. Like there was no build up to this. It's just kind of like all of a sudden, something happened and you're like, oh, this is a all new angle for this film to take. So I do wish that maybe there was more foreshadowing, more of like a forecast of like what was going to happen, because it did just feel like, oh my gosh, now we're in a very different kind of movie. And then it also again felt over the top, felt very B movie-ish, and that's not what I was getting from the earlier parts of the film. So it did just kind of, again, everything seems to kind of break my immersion. This also broke my immersion because you're all of a sudden you're like, this is a little ridiculous. So that is The Institute. It's coming to Blu-ray, DVD, and on demand on March 22nd, 2022. So you can check it out if you want to. Like I said, it has some interesting concepts, but the execution just didn't do it for me. But thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Check out my other content. I've got interviews with members of the Institute. I've got interviews with the director and producer of the Institute. I also have an interview with one of the stars, Victoria Brandart. Those are all on the YouTube channel. And thanks so much for watching. Take care.